Hey guys, welcome back. It's a wonderful summer's day in Pretoria. I'm ready for summer. I'm sure you can see by the shirt, Fijian shirt. But what a day! What a Springbok win! What a performance by the guys. Horrible weather, really, really horrible weather. We got to be honest about that. I mean, it's terrible to watch rugby like that, and that contributed a lot to the game. Once again, first of all, amazing support for South Africans in Perth to come out and support the Boks as well. We didn't see so much on the TV, but maybe I should just complete my rant about that. First of all, man, you realize how good SuperSport is. What is with the Aussie TV guys and a lack of replays? And what is these shots from at the top of the stadium? It's sort of we. It's there's times where things important stuff happens, a jackal, a turnover, a penalty, and they've got this camera view from the top of the stadium, and you can't see what's happening. And they seem to like these aerial views from far away. I know it works in football, I know it works in other sports, but not in rugby. I really think it just shows you we've got some of the best cameramen in the world here in South Africa. But man, over the last 2 weeks, it's been frustrating to watch Australian cameras, and thank goodness we'll be back in South Africa for the next couple. But sorry, that's my little rant. It was very frustrating not being able to see replays and having to watch half these games from these angles way at the top. Not to mention not wiping camera lenses and trying to, at the start of the game, we all knew it was raining. You can show the rain. But I mean, yeah, after about 20 minutes of camera lenses full of rain, I mean, anyway, that's the Aussie broadcaster. It's got nothing to do with the guys locally. They obviously get the feed from there. But yeah, other that was just a bit frustrating. But let's get down to the box. Um, Unfortunately, the rain made it a huge leveler in the game, and yeah, I mean, it was batting down. It wasn't great weather, and I think the first thing we're going to say is well done to everybody involved for getting through that game. I know it's not nice. People can talk about other teams playing in the weather, but yeah, I don't think it was the greatest thing. And the Box made mistakes, loads of them. Probably kept the Aussies in the game quite a bit in terms of that. Saying that, I think we should give, first of all, credit to the officials. Paul Williams' communications was excellent, although we might not have agreed with every single call that he made. Him and his line judges, your assistant refs, sorry, really had a good in tough conditions. And if you think it's tough to play in those conditions, you must talk to refs and you hear how tough it is to ref in those conditions. Yeah, you're really trying to see as much as you can, and they do miss things. But I thought overall he had a good game. I didn't have any problems. Much better than his game in Adelaide in 2022, and we all know what happened there. And even marched him back 10 meters at one stage. It was great. Uh, a solid win for the Boks. The scoreline shows it. You sort of wonder what would have happened on a dry day. I think there would have been a lot more playing around there. The Aussies might be a lot more, yeah, I suppose, in there, good on attack. But overall, yeah, you can't really fault too much. There was lots of nerves, you could see it, and the conditions didn't help. And I'll do a separate video on some of the younger players or some of the newish players that played in that test and go through their performances. So keep a lookout for that one. But saying that, you look at it, the Boks probably kept the Aussies in that game, and you saw the difference when some of the guys like Malcolm Marx, Vincent Koch, Andre Pollard came onto the field. Just that experience of what a difference it made in the latter part of the game. They suddenly looked a lot more threatening. They suddenly looked a lot more, determined and stuff. And you can understand. I mean, make so many changes. That continuity is going to struggle. And when you don't get the scrums, it's also gonna, so that's the third point I have is the Box sort of kept Australia in that game a lot of the time. I didn't see Australia threaten the Box line. They came into 22 two or three times, but they never looked like they were going to score a try. Yeah, for all their attacking play, they've still got a very long way to go. Joe Schmidt's got a lot of work. I don't think I'd be worried about the Bledisloe Cup if I was anybody in New Zealand. And if I was Argentina, two tests over there, I'd be very, very keen to play the Wallabies. But yeah, they are in the rebuilding process, but they still got a long way to go. And yeah, it's hard to pinpoint what exactly their problem is. It's just yeah, even this young Boks side had the measure of them and was leading at halftime. And if they didn't give away a couple of stupid penalties, Morne van der Berg, the early tackle, that's one of those 50-50, playing the nine, those are one of those things that you can clean up. Things like that that contributed 3 points at times. The Boks were still 11-6 or 11-9 ahead at halftime. So there is a big difference between the two sides, and it really paid off for the Springboks. Yeah, having these youngsters play now, because now they've come away. They've had a big win in Australia. They're back to back. They're set up for the Rugby Championship, and they're really looking good. So I think the gamble paid off, and by backing these youngsters, they're only going to get stronger, and they'll learn from this experience. They'll learn from the conditions. They'll come back stronger. And just remember, a lot of these guys need to get around about 30 caps before they go to Australia in 2027. They've now won twice in Australia. Not many South African sides can say that. I think it's the first time since 1970 or something that there's been back to back. Four in a row, I think it is now, that they've won in total. There's a lot of these little records being broken. And this side, we really are living in a golden age of Springbok rugby at the moment. Lots of nerves, loads of mistakes. But overall, a very good pass mark for a lot of these younger players. We had an extremely young tight five, and it was sad to see Salman Marat go off so early because I thought in his first couple of touches he was really good. But yeah, I mean, Ron Nokia had a good game. He was everywhere. He made a few mistakes, as did Johan Krobler. But yeah, they genuinely that side five never looked like they were going to be overawed by players a lot more experienced than them. So I didn't have we can all sort of say they made a lot of mistakes and that, but I think when you look at the situation, the conditions, the fact that there were 11 changes made to the team and everything that goes with that. I think the Boks really came out as big winners tonight, not just on the scoreline, but just going forward in the next couple of years as well. Then I mean, you look at it. Imagine if they had the scrums. I think the second half when the bomb squad guys came on, they would have demolished the Aussie scrum. The Aussie scrum didn't really look strong, even against the youngsters. And you must realise, Jan Hendrik Wessels hasn't really scrummed much at Loosehead. So it's a very young tight five. I think in the second half, Box would have hammered down and really sort of put the game away if they were allowed to scrum. I'm not sure, but I always thought the rule was that if you can't if you can't put the front row on, you have to lose a player. But apparently it is when it's an HIA, you can keep 15 on the field. But that's where I thought the Box could have been a bit cleverer. I wouldn't have brought somebody like Vincent Koch on, maybe brought Kwach on a bit earlier in exchange for a prop. Uh, Not sure why you can't do that. But yeah, either way, it doesn't really matter. But it definitely left the playing field late in the game. The Boks were still physically dominant, and that's what probably won it. Got them through at the end there. They're to Australia as well, and going forward, that's going to be huge for the Boks. Of course, the Boks would have learned a lot from this test match, a lot about their players, a lot going forward, and they look for a lot different things than we look for in a game. And they will have some in-depth analysis, and they'll know exactly what they're looking out for some of the players. And I'm sure we'll see in the next couple of weeks we'll hear about some of that as well. Of course, this is a great tour for the Springboks. It's great capping, almost the perfect tour for them. Come back with 10 points, double wins in Australia. That doesn't happen often. So, really a good tour. But they know there's bigger tests to come. The All Blacks are waiting. The All Blacks bounced back today against Argentina. That first half was quite exceptional. The way they just dismantled Argentina. They're a good team, and they will be a much tougher nut to crack. They enjoy playing at altitude at Ellis Park. They got a good record there. And Cape Town, certainly they'll have some home support there. Some of the Cape Crusaders will come out for them as well. And they'll definitely be a tough nut to crack at home. But, the Boks in the pole position now. If they win at least one of those two games, they could be very close to winning the Rugby Championship before they go to Argentina. So let's hope they do. But they know there's going to be bigger you know, tests to come. But they also know that there's a bunch of players coming back. You got Kanan Moody, you got Faf de Klerk, you got Stephen Kitsoff. There's a number of players who will be back for that Jasper Visser for that All Black series, so that'll be good. So let's take a look at some of the stats quickly, and have a look at quickly how the game went in that. Let's start with the match summary. There we are. There were 4 penalties to Australia, 2 to South Africa, 4 tries to 0. That tells a story in itself. It tells a story of dominance. Unfortunately, a lot of these aren't going to be as good as we normally see them because of the weather. 97 carries to 90, 6 line breaks to 3. Not often you see a South African side do more than the Aussies there. Turnovers lost, turnovers won, pretty even. Not too much to write about home back there. Territory stat here, looking where most of it was played. Most of it played, yeah, well, that's a bit, 48%, 52. Wallabies had a bit more territory, but I mean, that's the part of the field. It doesn't really say which sides one it was played in, but pretty even contest there. Possession stats here. Let's have a look. Wallabies had most of their possession, the middle of the feet, only 13% in the Springboks 22 as opposed to 27. So if you look at that, that's almost 60% of the Springboks possession was in the Wallabies half and only 35 in their own half. So that says a lot as well. The possession stats there, Boks having slightly more possession than the Wallabies. And an interesting, the last 10 minutes, they 58% possession. A far cry from Brisbane when they were down to 13 men and they didn't have much possession that last 10 minutes. Then set plays. Wallabies had a lot more scrums. A lot of those were uncontested, so it just shows you the amount of errors the Boks made. That 75% is understandable given the young tight five, but and the weather conditions as well. That no one really got on top in the scrums. There wasn't really looked at the stage that the Springboks might get on top there. Lineouts, 80% lineout win for the Boks. Steadied after the first couple, but in the first half they were a bit nervy and lost a few balls there, but still a better lineout win than the Wallabies. And then restarts, 86%. The Wallabies got all their restarts. That was something in the first half that was a bit of concern for the Springboks as well. Stats here, pretty even there. Pretty even. Box had a couple more ball carries. Post contact meters, you can see, and I think those largely because later in the second half, when the more experienced players were on, the Springboks sort of came through at the end there. 164 post contact meters to 116. They got the dominance right at the end there, but not through the entire match. Turnover stats here. You see there 14 turnovers to 11. Unfortunately, that's a lot to do with the weather there. A lot of mistakes by the Springboks, especially in that first half. They left a couple of points out on the table there. Penalties 11 to 10. The Boks went through a period in the second half where they gave away quite a few penalties, but yeah, didn't really get punished too much about it. So pretty decent outing for them there. Not too much to be concerned about. The last one of the main stats, just the tackles pretty even on that as well, even on tackles missed. And then kicks, a lot of kicks as expected in this game as well. Interesting that the Wallabies were made a few more than the Boks, but I think that had a lot to do with the weather conditions. So not too much you can read into that. Players' stats there, number of carries, not many carries for players in the weather. You can understand that. Marika Koribeti standing out in both that and the line breaks for the Wallabies. By far, their player with the most influence. Apalele Fassi and Peter Steph Toy. Peter Steph Toy is in every stat normally anyway. Chesn Colby had a lovely line break as well. If Sasha could have taken that ball, it would have been a certain try. Just one of the tries the Boks left out there. Their tackles, Carlo Tizano really put his body on the line. Not surprising that the Aussies on the tackles there. The Boks spread it around a bit more, but names that you expect to be there: Carlo Tizano, Rob Valentini. Turnovers lost. I think one of them was the try. But yeah, Sasha at the top there making a few mistakes as well, but nothing too much to write home about in that stat either. And then the final stat, turnovers one, not much there as well. Dominant tackles, not one Bok in the dominant tackles, but I suppose you got to look at how they how they say what is a dominant tackle. But the Aussies in those stats as well. Of course, these are rugby passes stats, so yeah, the Boks will have their own and much more detailed on other things as well. But overall, nothing too much in the stats, and thank mainly because of the weather. Finally, we'll have a look at the table where everybody stands now. The Boks way ahead with a 44-point plus net points difference, 2 bonus points from their 2 games at the top of the log. The New All Blacks in second spot, Argentina. They're sharing the 2 games between them, and Australia way back in fourth at the moment. So as we get back to Currie Cup action now this afternoon, the Boks are going to come home. They're going to face the All Blacks. There'll be a lot riding on those games, a lot talking going into that game as well, and a few changes, a few players coming back as we get to that as well. But saying that, what a wonderful weekend, a perfect tour by the Springboks. Lots to be happy about, lots to be, and the weather's great here. So enjoy it while we can. We're really on a good space in Springbok rugby at the moment. And yes, and yeah, lots to look forward to. Those two games against the All Blacks will be epic. Yeah, maybe let me know in the comments who you thought played well, who you thought had a poor game. I don't think there was anybody who had too much of a poor game. I think the conditions made sure of that. But of course, a lot to talk about there as well, and a lot we're going to see in the next couple of weeks happening as well. So keep an eye on the space. There'll be a lot more on this channel as well. And thanks for watching. It's always great to get the feedback from you guys. Some of it good, some of it's quite funny, and I really enjoy it. But thanks a lot. Till next time. Cheers. Sorry. And on that note, I think I'll leave you with the only try, well, the big try of the game, Apalele Fassi's one. And in Oza commentary, credit to Supersport for this. Just wonderful to hear the commentary on this and a good way to sign out. Cheers.